Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back into another video. Today's video is about what I like to call the Curse of Hi-Rez. And before you guys start thinking that this is just another video about drama or something of the sort, it actually has a specific reason as to why I decided to do this video. And in fact, I wanted to sort of, I'm going to say expose, but I'm going to be talking about an experience that I had with a developer from Paladins Rogue Company, which didn't turn out too great. And why did all this even came to my mind? Why did I decide to do this video? As you can see right now on screen, the content creator by the name of Brad UK, he did a video 6 days ago about the rise and downfall of Rogue Company. Very similar to every other game that Hi-Rez has, right? And thus me mentioning the Hi-Rez Curse. So I want to explain what the Hi-Rez Curse is, and I want to explain as to why I believe there's this sort of curse. Obviously, I don't believe in curses and so on. It's more like in a general way of speaking. But how this keeps happening and the history of Hi-Rez in every game they do, and how it could potentially affect Smite 2 in the future. Now, I'm not going to play the video here. It's the one right above the camera right here. Right there. This one right there. I'm not going to play the video. I've seen it already. And I got to say, you guys should definitely check it out as well, okay? Because I don't want to play the video because I don't really want to be stealing Brad's content. Instead, I want you to go and check it out and see if you agree with it. He actually put a lot of good editing into that video, and I agree with pretty much everything he said. Not only that, but I actually want to add one thing. He mentions one part where the game had been sort of sponsored, or at least showed to more people outside of the community of Rogue Company. What it was, Mr. Beast, that is actually on Mr. Beast's channel of the Mr. Beast Gaming. Then Dr. Disrespect, I know a lot of people know that one. And then the 100 Thieves pro team, whatever it is. So there's a part where he mentions how there was a connection between Dr. Disrespect and Rogue Company. There's a thing that I don't know if he did knew this or if he just forgot to mention it, but he does mention one part where the map of the Rogue Company map of Dr. Disrespect has a lot of FPS issues. And the reason for this, since a lot of people don't know this, a reason for this is because the map was done in less than a week. Yeah, so technically speaking, you know, Dr. Disrespect showed interest in Rogue Company, and they did that little joke around on Twitter, like how many likes or what do we need to get like a partnership going or a skin or something like that. And I think Dr. Disrespect, apparently, remembering from that time, because this has been a while ago, he said, if you build me a map in less than a week, you know, we'll work something out. And they did. The map has always had issues since the start, obviously. In less than a week, it was created, not polished, trapped a ton of issues, and FPS drops all the time. So much so that for a very long time, it got removed, nothing was said about it, and then it just got brought back into the general queue now, which... That's it. That's all we know. The map apparently still has a lot of FPS issues. But why do I want to talk about this? Rogue Company is not the only one that actually identifies with this video. All right? Every single other game, except for potentially Smite 1 as of the moment, every single other game of Hi-Rez has suffered through the exact same thing. It went too close to the sun, and then it burned out his wings and just fell down. Now, Paladins was a bit more of a long-term sort of thing, similar to Smite, but Smite grew up to be a bit bigger because the scene of MOBAs, aka League of Legends and Dota 2, kept its entire scene alive. What I believe to be the curse of Hi-Rez is that they decide to create a project, they create a game based on something that already exists, but with a little twist, right? Perfect example, Smite. It's the same as League of Legends in Dota 2, but in third-person camera, over the shoulder. Realm Royale, same as Fortnite, but with abilities. Paladins, same as Team Fortress 2. I apologize for the Tangia logo up top, it doesn't matter, focus on me. DKO, same thing with like Brawlhalla and Smash Bros or whatever, but in third person. There was a game that was actually sort of a round-based chess with characters from Smite. Never saw the daylight, folks. This is also a copy to another game that already existed. Tribes Ascend and Global Agenda didn't really experience them, but they both suffered from the decisions of the company as well. Rogue Company, essentially Valorant, but in third person. Right? And if you don't want to consider Valorant, just look at Counter-Strike and put some abilities on it, third person, and that is Rogue Company. And so on, right? Like every single one of these projects, they decide to create a new project, and it just happens to be very similar to something already existing or something already in the genre with their own twist. Then they do have a brief little moment of success. They can actually even go up to numbers they've never done before. And then from then on, it's just going down, 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 down. It seems like they can create something interesting and unique in a way, to the point of actually catching the audience, the eyes of, for example, Ninja when he played Realm Royale, the eyes of Dr. Disrespect when he played Rogue Company. Summit played Realm Royale as well, by the way. Recently, we had Summit, which also played Realm Royale, playing Smite, which, by the way, a little take on the matter, for the people who decided to stream snipe Summit and just make his experience trash, I got a question for you. Do you really want the game to die? Is that what you want to do? You think it's funny for you to go after a massive content creator who could potentially bring out some numbers like similar to what happened to Realm Royale and just make their life miserable? Is this what you think of fun? Because, like, I don't know, if I'm enjoying a game, I really don't want to go and stream snipe and, like, literally harass content creators of the size of Ninja, Summit, Dr. Disrespect, and so on, to the point of them not ever wanting to play the game. Similar example, Realm Royale recently had SQC playing the game, back when Thor and Feisty and the rest of the team were redoing Realm Royale, you know, Realm Royale Reforged. SQC played it. And we had this one little guy who happens to stream snipe every single person he can and literally just comes back with a different account with N-word names and so on, just harassing SQC constantly over and over and over. And I've seen this happen in Fortnite as well. So, like, what exactly is the point of people being this brain rot when it comes to this type of thing? Like, do you really, like, do you think that it's the funniest thing in the world to make these people rage quit? Is that what this is all about? Because I'm going to be perfectly honest. When a person gets to that point, I don't even want to see them no more. I know that from experience. Sometimes I get to that point, I get to, you know, to rage, and I understand that people do stop seeing me because of that same thing. They are not there to see me rage. Okay, some people might have their own entire content based on that, but, like, still, I understand why people would want to stop seeing me. And not only that, but it also hurts the game they're playing. So congratulations, you are part of the reason why some of these games end up dying in the future. All with applause for every single one of them. One. Let's go. All right. Next up, what I was talking about. Every single one of these games tends to have, you know, captures a little bit of attention. We had Summit, Dr. Lupo, Tim the Tatman, Ninja playing Realm Royale, for example. But in my opinion, what kind of screwed Realm Royale in that position was first of all, they then had nothing available for purchase inside Realm Royale. It was a free-to-play game of the worst kind. There was nothing for people to spend money on in order to help the content creators do some revenue to then reuse this revenue into the game. Not a single thing. In fact, the only cosmetic we saw was them doing a chicken skin for Ninja real fast, which they just gave him for free, and then, you know, eventually Ninja just left the game because the game became boring. It didn't have any changes, and when it started having changes, thanks to our Lord and Almighty Ares, the CEO of Hi-Rez, deciding to go in there and just, I want to play with this toy, but then grabs it, breaks it, and then says, yeah, now I don't want to play with it anymore. Thank God, and I mean no disrespect to Hi-Rez, but thank God this man actually ended up leaving Hi-Rez alone and going to his own brand new company called the Prophecy Games or whatever it was, and do his own little projects. Thank the Lord he did that, because I specifically accuse Hi-Rez of killing Realm Royale all by himself. Now, there were poor decisions by the dev team, and that's what I want to get into. The entire, you know, what's it called? Exposing a situation. I keep saying that the developers are not at fault for the downfall of the game. But when I say that, I'm kind of stupid, because I don't really mean that. I'm not saying that every developer is responsible for the downfall of these games, but there's definitely developers who have zero passion, zero care in the world for these games. They're just doing their job, they want to get their paycheck, go home, and not talk about it anymore. And how do I know this? Here's a perfect example of an interaction I had. A community manager of Paladins, who later on went and became the community manager of Realm Royale. Soon, when the game started actually releasing to the public, no longer you needed keys or anything of the sort, actually around the same time, not exactly at that time, just a bit before, he contacted me, and I have the emails to prove and everything, but unfortunately I would have to expose both him and his email for that. But he contacted me saying, hey, I have an opportunity here for you. Would you be interested in creating some videos for Rogue Company? And I'm like, yeah. Let's do it. Sure. Heck yeah. I didn't get the chance to get into the stream team, the first rotation of the stream team of Rogue Company, only the second one. Can I at least, you know, have this going on for me? Hell yeah. And so we exchanged some more emails. We changed documents. I'm talking about contracts, NDAs. We even had a actual voice call over the meetings, whatever, Google Meetings or whatever. All of this happened. Everything was brotherly smooth. Everything was okay. We had the exact same idea. The problem was that I was given like rules. Like, you can't do content that has both profanity or copyrighted content. Now, my idea was to do a .exe video. You guys know about these videos, right? When I wanted to do that video, obviously I run the risk of having copyrighted content in it, and second of all, if it starts to be very like bleeped and censored about the profanity, it just ends up becoming very dull. Like, people don't like watching that, right? Unfortunately, YouTube is forcing us all to do that, but still. And that, I said, okay, I'll just do some tutorials. He's like, perfect. We have a deal. So the idea was for me only to just do one single video, but I said I'll even start a series and do a second video. If you go into my YouTube channel, the video is how to play Phantom in Rogue Company. Then I did the second one, which was the glitch guy, how to play him as well. And I did these videos, and, you know, I'm just waiting for his end of the bargain, because I was promised, for example, direct entry into the partners program of Rogue Company, keys/codes for people to be able to access the game before it would go live for free for everybody. Actually have keys of skins and such to do giveaways. Advertising my videos, the literal videos that I did on their social media, on Rogue Company's Twitter, and a bunch of other little tiny things. I can tell you I got zero. Not a single one of those things. In the start, I got upset. I tried to contact him. No response for multiple times. Until the point that I just gave up on it. But I did feel like really upset. Somebody who I already had worked with before, who happened to now go into another game from the same company that I'm still working in, contacts me to do some work with them, and I do it. I do my end of the bargain. I don't know if I did something wrong. One thing is certain. I didn't get an answer. I didn't get nothing of what was promised to me. Contracts were signed. I literally could go to a court and actually appeal to this, which I won't, because first, I don't have money, and second, it's not really that big of a deal, the amount of things that I would gain from it to actually have to go to a court with it. But nothing of their side was done. My side was done. 100%. And because this happened, I got upset and did no more Rogue Company content ever again. So if you ever wondered why I never played Rogue Company and why I never did a lot of videos or streams at all for them, there you have it. The opportunity did arise later for me to join the stream team of Rogue Company when it went into Steam, I think, and I did it. But at this time, the game was already in a very poor state, so there was nothing, I was not going to be wasting my time dedicating myself to that. I was even asked if I wanted to keep myself in the Rogue Company stream team, only that team, no Paladins, no nothing, and stay there. but I decided not to, and by hell was it a good decision. That stream team was disbanded like in less than a couple months later. In the meantime, I stayed for at least another 2 years on Paladin stream teams, so thank the Lord for that decision. Now you're probably thinking, oh, that's just something. Here's the thing. Another community manager of Rogue Company, a more recent one, who started going on to every single other game's community managers and working with them to create discords for their partners to make a more inclusive group of people who represent their games, Paladins, DKO, Realm Royale, and so on. She had this concept of that and started applying into multiple different places. When she got to Paladins, she was on the AOC Discord and was already rebranding it over to the new Partners program, and I found out that she was the community manager of now Rogue Company. So I went to talk to her. We had a normal conversation up until the point I told her the truth. That I had a contract done with that other content creator, community manager, that I did all the things on my side, but nothing was done. Nothing was kept of the promises that I was made. She ignored me. She never answered back to me ever again. I got 0 answers from that. And from then on, I never heard from her again until she left the company. So, my point is that these are some of the people we will find working on these games. These people have 0 regards for the games. They have 0 regards for the community, the players, or anything. They're just there to do their job, and that's it. As soon as they get the paycheck, they go away and they leave. Now, obviously, I'm not talking about every single developer, please. And when I say developer, I'm talking about all different sections, okay? A developer is somebody who's part of the team that helped develop or continues to develop the current game, right? So this goes from many different areas. We're talking about community managers, we're talking about art directors, we're talking about game designers. Every single one of these people are considered developers, okay? And when I say this, I'm talking about every single person who is responsible for the current development of the game. Not everyone is under this tree. In fact, there's not a lot of them like that. But the problem is, when there's at least a few of them in each team for each game that really do not care, it ends up killing the game. Here's a perfect example. OB64 for Paladins. A game designer by the name of Martini came out to public and essentially told us to shut up. Now, this is me saying it in a different way. This is not exactly what he said. OB64 was a very grindy and pay-to-win patch. Everybody hated it. Everybody. Like, in fact, people make memes of the patch that we shall not name, or we shall never talk about that patch, the forbidden patch, and so on, right? So much so there were actual paint drawings done as sprays for inside of the game to celebrate the end of OB64. That's how bad it was. So this system was put in order, people complained about it, and instead of actually removing it and going back, Martini came out to public on a YouTube video on the Paladins YouTube channel, where they stated, "We worked too hard on this, we will not be removing it." Like Kami said, Kami, the content creator of Paladins, who now left Paladins, is now in Overwatch, he said this exact same words, and I'm going to repeat it, "It felt like a slap in the face." So these are the type of people that sometimes, unfortunately, will make decisions or just make stupid stuff, like, for example, making deals with content creators, and then will not keep their promises, and eventually they will kill the game. These are people who, in my opinion, and I'm sorry, some of them at least, they go into these games, Paladins, Realm Royale, DKO, Rogue Company, so on, as an entry job so that they can put something in their resumes and then just move along into another company. In fact, so much so that many of the people who have already left all of these developing teams are now in teams like, for example, Riot, Blizzard, and so on. And they're happily there, happily working over there. So what leaves me to think, which is actually stated by a developer who has already left the Evil Mojo team, Hi-Rez is a good place to start working, and then to go into a better company after. If this is real or not, I do not know. One thing is certain, it does feel like Hi-Rez is definitely cursed. It does feel like a lot of decisions should be actually thought twice before being done, and, it feels like they should listen more to their communities, And sometimes, because these developers don't end up doing the right things, the games start losing numbers, and then obviously Hi-Rez themselves will come up and be like, well, we're not going to invest more money into this. It would just be throwing money into the garbage, because the game is already in a poor state and it's going to continue to decay. How would ever we be saving it? Right? They can't find a lot of people, for example, to work on Paladins, because Paladins is working in an Unreal Engine 3.5 or something. Most of the people coming out of universities and so on are working with Unreal Engine 4 and plus. They do not know how to work with Unreal Engine 3. It is not as easy as 4. It is very, very limited, very complicated, and you cannot import things from 3 to 4. Now, Rogue Company obviously is on 4, but even then, it felt like their first ever game in Unreal Engine 4, which means that they just went in blind without really knowing what they wanted to do or how to maintain it. The map of Dr. Disrespect is the perfect example. They created something in less than a week, and they made it very poorly, right? So, yes, the Hi-Rez Curse is, let's abandon projects that are older, that are not showing any signs of progressing. Let's go into every single different place of gaming markets that there are, gaming genres out there, and then fly up into the sky, get close to the sun, and then just fall down. Ignore, move on to the next one, and this is the cycle. And with this, I bring the conclusion to this video, where I state that, remember, Smite 1 no longer has esports. They said this was the last year. Smite 2 might be the next one on the next year, you know, how they're going to pick off from. But as a person who's been playing on the playtest and cannot tell you exactly what's inside of Smite 2, when the game goes public, I would love to know your guys' opinions. Because I personally, I prefer Smite 1 to Smite 2. By far. By really, really, really far. But, you know, we'll see. Only time will tell. But Smite 2, I think, is the only Unreal Engine 5 game that they have developed so far, so I wouldn't be surprised it's going to be another Rogue Company thing. It might get a lot of success, and then just start going down, 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 down. We'll see. But for the developers who actually care, the developers who are actually out there on any of these Hi-Rez teams, who actually love the games they're developing and the communities they're working with, I thank you, and please, for the love of God, keep doing what you're doing and keep doing your best. Because for the other ones who don't care, for the other ones who make false promises or don't listen to their communities, stop killing our games, please. Thank you so much for watching. That'll be it for today. I'll see you guys next time. And until then, have a wonderful time. Bye-bye, folks. Oh, and just before I go, don't forget to go watch Brad UK's video and give him a sub. Bye.